And then we tweet it out.
Yep, I will retweet whatever you put
out. And then I close all these fucking tabs I have open to make my computer run faster. Ugh. The reason I need someone here, especially to help me analyze my own set, is because it's hard to figure out, it's hard to explain how I came up with the game plan I did. Just by myself.
Yeah.
And I need someone to, like, kind of be a foil for my discussion, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Because the way I thought about it was, ooh, here's this game plan. This'll probably work. And it's hard because, okay, I need to be able to look at chat. I kind of want to wait until there are a few people in here, so until then, I'm going to look at some results of regionals and Sydney and stuff. Did I do Sydney results already? Yeah, I'm going to look at some regionals results for a couple seconds. Just see if
Malmo.
there's...
Does Rare Tower have Malmo up yet?
It should. It should. Does it, though?
Oh, they have St. Louis up. Yeah, there it is.
Malmo is right here. Cool. Okay. So I know Jamie won. He had Wide Lens Superior.
Yeah, with Swagger.
With Swagger, and Black Class is Persian. Ben Markham was running that, like, Edu straightforward team.
He had a Tapu
What is
Bulu over
this?
something else. Tapu Bulu
over Landorus.
Yeah.
I actually don't understand this top cut.
He's got the Jinx.
I do not. No, I know Baz's team. I beat him a bunch. And then I lost him because I got cocky.
Because it's the Adrenaline Orb one, right? The
Yes.
Adrenaline Orb Jinx?
No, I lost him. I played him at the MSSs that I went to. The ones where I got, like, first and fourth. And,
yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and so he has no matchup against Sand. Yeah, it's just so bad.
Oh, jeez, like, he can't do anything. Like, you just like, quick that one, and then you Ironheart the other one.
Yeah, and then you Tech Rage that one. Yeah, it's really bad. Even though he has, like, Scarf Bulu, it's, like, it's all just, like, I just clef Excadrill, and game's over. And then game 3, I got, like, really, set 3, I got, like, cocky, and I'd also been on a 2-hour break from playing Pokemon, because I got scooped 2 in the last round, because I had bad resistance, and my opponent had good resistance, and we were both 3-0, and that was after a lunch break, and he had just come off playing a set, and so I was like, I'm gonna lose, and then I lost.
I like how there are 2 Zardexes in cut.
Yeah, this cut is wild, and I'm gonna need to investigate this on my own.
Look at that. There's Gyarados, there's like Gyarados Marowak P2.
Which, oh yeah, no, this cut requires a lot more time than I have to devote to it right now. So, we're going to do something a bit more, something I have a bit more expertise in, and watch one of my own sets.
Yay!
So, we have replays open. So I played Emforbes this week, and I learned an important lesson. The lesson is never bring the same team in NPA 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, usually you'll face something hard to beat then.
Yeah, so, like, I've played 7 sets in NPA this year, and every time I have brought a team the 3rd time, I have lost. Those are the only times I have lost. The 3rd time I bring a team. Not the first time, not the second, the 3rd time I bring a team. It's happened twice so far. So, only use a team twice.
Then you're good, yeah.
Then you're good.
Alright, so let's talk a little bit about team preview then.
But actually, one sec. So I thought we had already lost this week. I thought we were 0-5 as opposed to 0-4. So I just wanted to play a good set.
Okay.
And so I didn't try and, predict what he was going to bring. I didn't want to, engage in anything. I was just like, I'm just going to bring sand, and I'm going to learn about the metagame. Because I really like this team. And I'm probably going to bring this to the next tournament I go to, unless I find something else I really enjoy. Like, this team has been one of the most... Ah, yes. You're a mod, right?
Me?
Yeah, Bancase.
Oh. Slash and body bag case.
Thank you.
Sorry. Rip case.
Not really.
Oh. Another funny message he had.
It's not. So now that we're done with silliness like that, so I decided to just play a good set of Pokemon. No counter teaming, no NPA nonsense, just good Pokemon. So in team preview, we have Sage and Sand versus Case's team. So I think we should know what all the sets of these are, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm familiar with all the sets.
Because I forgot what the sets were during the set.
Oh, no.
So I confused Emforbes' team with Dave's team. And so I thought that the Bulu was Scarf, when in fact the Kartana is Scarf.
Yeah, and then the Bulu has Life Orb on this team,
And the Bulu has Life Orb, yes. And I didn't know the Whimsicott's full moveset. And I don't know the Heatran's item.
I don't even know Whimsicott's full moveset sometimes. I know it's definitely Fake Tears on Core Tailwind.
This one had Protect.
This one has Protect? Okay.
Yeah.
And then Heatran is typically stupid on this team.
I thought it was, I don't know what I thought it was.
Yeah, because the Clangy Boy has the Clang Easy move. And then I think it's usually sub, and then Heatwave Earth Power, I think that's typically what I've seen from it. Because, otherwise Heatran is very strong versus this.
Yes, Heatran does look pretty good against this type of team. So, how do you feel? So, what are you thinking in team preview for both of the players?
So, Gengar Whimsicott is not as strong here because Excadrill probably has a Z move. If I'm familiar with this team, I know Excadrill has Z move. You can't do any prankster stuff on T-Tar. Yep. That's kind of bad. The Salamence can maybe match Tailwind. You're not. If you don't know, then you don't know. You are probably. I'm getting a lot of feedback on my end with my voice.
Oh yeah, I'll just. I'm trying to let the sound go into the mic. So my computer is kind of shitty, so I don't know how to get OBS to put the Discord mic into directly into OBS.
Oh, okay.
I just don't know how to do it. I've tried. I've had people look at my settings. I'm just not sure how it works.
Okay, we can deal with that another time, and I'll just deal with it then. So Komo-O is okay here because Fighting Stab is very good. Dragon Fighting Stab is pretty good against everything except for the fairies, obviously. But it's unlikely that you probably bring a Azumarill. There's pressure from Whimsicott, both grass types. Even though you might be able to get it set up, I'm not really sure what you could do afterwards because I think Clefairy would probably die in the meantime. I think Emforbes is a smart enough player to do that. So I would probably not bring a Azumarill to this matchup unless I had a good read on what he was going to do.
Yeah, my thought with Azumarill is if I lead, Azumarill's really hard to maneuver in the mid game. You often have to lead it in order to get the full value out of it. And if I lead it, I expect him to kind of expect him to lead Gengar Whimsicott. And if you lead Gengar Whimsicott, then the Clefairy gets knocked out while the drum gets set up. And then there's no way to not get on court.
Yep. So, yeah, Azumarill is not looking too great here.
Not really.
Sand mode is pretty good. I know this Excadrill set, so it's Tech Rage Ironhead, which is really good, and it also has Sword Stance, so that means it pressures every single Pokemon on the team except for maybe Kartana. Tech Rage pressures Kartana.
Tech Rage pressures Kartana.
Yeah.
Pretty hard.
But otherwise, your other moves pressure his other Pokemon really well.
Yeah.
So that's good. Thundurus
Useless.
Probably not. I mean, you could bring it because it takes one hit and can like knock out Etran, and I think it knocks out Mega Gengar with Life Orb Thunderbolt. Is that true?
I don't know, and I wasn't really willing to try and find out. If I'm being honest.
Door here are probably what I'm looking at then.
Yeah, that was my thinking. The problem is, how do you beat... So, the question that's always going to be going through my mind in this matchup is, how do I beat the Gengar Whimsicott lead? Because he could lead all sorts of other things. But none of them are really as threatening to this team. Because, Excadrill and Sand does a lot to everything else.
We can see that, clearly the Excadrill, I think, is, like, one of the most important Pokemon here in the matchup.
Yes,
so you probably want to get a Sand up almost as quickly as you can with it.
Excadrill is actually the most important Pokemon in this entire matchup. The thing is, if you don't start with T-Tar Excadrill and they lead Gengar Whimsicott, you are risking your opponent going for Fake Tears knockout on any of your Pokemon. And they can do that freely because they're just faster. The only way you can possibly lead into this team that doesn't risk getting one of your Pokemon KO'd immediately is you could lead T-Tar Mence if you wanted to, and then like protect the Mence and attack with Tyranitar. The problem with that is that they set Tailwind, Gengar has Disable, Como Z moves. So then your Tyranitar is not doing anything. And then you lose. And you can't not protect with Salamence, because if Emforbes doubles the Mence, then you lose instantly. You're just down a Pokemon. You can't afford to be down a Pokemon at that point. Then they Tailwind, then they send in Como, then they Z-move, then they Disable, and then you lose. So, actually... Actually, wait, no. There's a plan, maybe. You could start T-Tar Mence, and you just protect Tailwinds and sends in Como and Z-moves, and you lose. Never mind. It's just bad. You can't even attack. They don't even double. They just Tailwind and you lose. So it's really hard to come up with a game plan against Gengar Whimsicott. I expect Emforbes to lead Gengar Whimsicott, at least in Game 1.
And then definitely Como in the back, and probably one of Blue or Heatran.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what he was going to bring as the last Mon. I was too busy. Like, Sajin's team, this Sand team is very much about your own game plan. What I found about this Sand team is this team is so well built that you get to dictate the game very consistently. You are the one who is pressuring your opponent. You know what is going on. They don't. And so if you take that attitude to all of your games, that like, I am the one who is pressuring, I am the one in control, you often are in a much better position than trying to play like a reactive defensive play style. So if you put the pressure on, then you know what's going on. So let's watch this this game, because I think Emforbes is just going to go Gengar Whimsicott with Como and something else in the back. And I have the problem that my Mence doesn't have Double Edge. That's why this matchup is really bad, by the way. If Mence had Double Edge, this matchup would be easy. It would be not a problem. I would be able to KO the Como. But I cannot touch it with anything.
Unless it's the young Overcoat.
Like I said. I cannot touch it with anything. So let's let's check out these leads. So just stop right before turn 1 starts.
Excellent. Okay, so the thing that I'm seeing here is Forbes probably knows that the Excadrill has Tech Rage or is in some way pressuring the Gengar.
Yeah, I mean, if
it's very likely that he wants Tailwind up here.
It's nothing. If nothing else, Excadrill just pressures the Gengar with Earthquake. You could just Earthquake it.
Well, you could, but
if you switch out your
the only way you could Earthquake is if you switch in your own Salamence. It's probable at this point that your Tyranitar is Choice Scarf, I think.
Yeah. But, like, switching in Salamence and Earthquaking is definitely, like, a play he has to consider. Tech Rage as well, also a play he has to consider.
How much does Tech Rage do to Gengar through Protect after Sand? Will it pressure it into Sand turns on subsequent turns, or will it not do enough?
That is a good question. I did not actually calc that. There's a reason I did not calc that, which I will discuss later. But, actually, no, I'll just discuss it now. Basically, I need to Tech Rage Kommo-o to win the game.
Because there's not much other ways to pressure it. Yeah, I see that.
If I don't Tech Rage... I also didn't know how bulky the Gengar was.
Yeah, I don't know how bulky they are on this team either.
I think they're offensive because they're running... Oh yeah, this just doesn't do anything. It does 77 to 91%. That's nothing. Leonard, are you there? Did Discord fail me? Stream, are you here? Is anyone here? Okay, I should be back. Hello. 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 Hello.
Oh, there we go.
Nice, we're back.
I think you went offline.
I did go offline. It was not ideal.
R.I.P. All right.
Okay, we're back.
Well, we're back.
We're back, guys.
Still turn one.
Still turn one.
Yep. And so we want to save the Z move for the Kommo-o.
Yes.
And Emforbes, I think, really wants to get tail.
Yes. Also, important thing to note, the Z move doesn't KO Gengar. If the Z move did KO Gengar, I would very much consider it. But the chance of doing 77% to min bulk Mega Gengar through Protect is way too much. If you don't KO the Gengar, your Z move is wasted. It's just not worth it.
Okay. So then your options are, you probably don't want to knock out the Whimsicott. If you knock out the Whimsicott right now, and he goes for like Protect Tail, and then he brings in Kommo-o, and that's really bad.
Yeah, I just lose the game instantly. Like, the game is just over.
Yeah, so he definitely wants to get Tailwind up, so let's see what happens on turn one.
Okay. Yeah. So, turn one, I execute my game plan, which is the game plan I thought of when I was going into this game. My plan was, I need to pressure the Gengar so I can get up a Swords Dance.
And that's what happened.
It's exactly what I do. I switch in Clefairy because I need it once... I need Clefairy in once the Tailwind is up in order to protect Excadrill from Fake Tears Shadow Ball.
And Encore.
And Encore. Especially from Encore. And I need a Swords Dance in order to be able to do any reasonable... I think... So the real key part of this matchup is this damage calc, which is +2 Tectonic Rage, one-shots Kommo-o at +1.
Okay.
So now, I'm pretty sure that's true. So if we take Excadrill, Kommo-o, we take off Life Orb, we make the boy +2, and we give you Z, and we give you +1 defense. So +2 Z Earthquake does 127% minimum to Kommo-o at +1 defense.
So that's more than enough, yeah.
More than enough, but +0 doesn't KO. So I need +0 does 63.5%. So I need to get to +2 in order to be able to, in order to feel confident in my Kommo-o matchup. Otherwise, no matter what, he can just boost up and kill my whole team. Because if he can boost up on my Z move, then he can just close combat the Excadrill next turn, and no problem, right? So this sword stance is really key to the way I understand this game. And so I'm at a massive advantage after. I'm at a playable position. I will not say massive advantage after turn 1. So how do you?
I lost you again.
I swear I'm here.
Test.
What's up? Stream, am I here? No.
Oh, there?
Yes. I can hear you. Hello.
Oh, there we are. Hi.
Hey.
Yay.
Okay. I've been having some technical difficulties. My apologies.
Alright, we're still on turn 1.
We're still on the end of turn 1, yes. So, my thought process, so what do you think about this position? How do I approach the next turn? How do we both approach the next turn in order to achieve our game plans?
My initial thought is, does Clefairy live Sludge Bomb at the moment? So that's really important to know. Otherwise, maybe something like, well, there are 3 turns of Tailwind left. You definitely want to get those out of the way. Like, that's, I think, one of the most important things to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do that, and then Excadrill is able to maintain speed advantage, then you're good.
Yes. I'm very good once that happens.
We need to make sure that, so Clefairy can buy 1 turn.
Yes.
So ideally we want Clefairy to buy enough turns so that way we could stall out Tailwind, beat Whimsicott at that point, and still be pressuring a knockout.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm shooting for. I'm not sure what Emilio is trying to do. But so in my mind, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to stall out Tailwind, and I think, with Amoonguss, there's always the potential for protecting the partner and sporing, which always creates this kind of unhealthy mind game, wherein you have to target the right one in order to make sure Follow Me doesn't get the full potential. And I always thought that was kind of like ally switch levels of unhealthiness, but it never really came up in a lot of games. Because it's really hard to say, oh, they're double targeting my other slot, I get the free spore. You'd rather just get the guaranteed redirection.
Yeah.
But Clefairy can't do anything like that. It's a Clefairy. So, so
Icy Wind, yeah.
I don't have damage. I don't have Icy Wind.
Exactly, so you can't even do that.
Yeah, I can't even do that. So I think my best play is in this position is double protecting, because it looks like he's still exerting strong pressure with, maybe a Fake Tears Shadow Ball into the Excadrill if he can catch the right thing. And then, even if his Pokemon get knocked out, he gets Como-O in at the right time.
2 responses to that. 1 is Fake Tears Shadow Ball threatening a knockout with Friend Guard. 2 is Fake Tears Shadow Ball threatening a knockout on Clefairy.
Yes. So, Fake Tears Shadow Ball. So, we have Mega Gengar. So, defensively, I assumed he was max special attack because you have to.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is, in my mind, yes. So, for me, it is threatening an Oko with a 62.5% chance to one-shot.
Absolutely. I would, agree with that.
So for me, it's threatening a one-shot. I don't know if he's willing to risk that play as an option.
He would probably... I think it's safe for him to assume that he probably thinks 4 HP, though. I mean, even though it might not be 4 HP, I would probably assume 4 HP on Excadrill until I am seen otherwise.
Yeah.
So he might think it's more probable.
I mean, for me, I'm just 4 HP for Spadef. So,
yeah.
So that's about as probable as it gets.
He wouldn't be too far off with his assessment.
Yes.
Basically.
It just so happens that when you add the 4 Spadef, it takes off 13% chance. So I'd assume 4 HP, 0 SPDF, and it would be 75% chance to one-shot.
Yeah.
Through Friend Guard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's assuming he remembers Friend Guard and all that stuff. Yeah, but whatever.
So, I think he's willing to go for it. But I'm not entirely sure. It might be best for Emilio to switch out here, but he doesn't want something to get caught.
Yeah, almost everything is being pressured by an Iron Head, except for his Steel types. Only his Steel types can switch in on Iron Head, which is a big deal for him.
Yeah, and so, like, I'm not sure... And I don't think you bring Heatran to this matchup.
Even if you did, then you're pressuring next turn with... Oh, actually, you might not be.
Even if he did bring Heatran to this matchup, I'm pressuring Heatran with Protect Earthquake, which is also a very reasonable play for me to make.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least a possible play. So it's hard to switch anything into to this pair of Pokemon. So I'm not sure what Emilio's supposed to do here.
So, we saw that you went for the double protect there.
Oh, yeah. So
let's go ahead and play out that turn.
We'll play out the turn. So I go for the double protect because I want to waste out a turn of Tailwind, and I see that like he's probably not going to switch, and so I can afford to go for it. And he goes for Fake Tears Sludge Bomb into the Clefairy, which is like all well and fair, but it makes me kind of salty that I didn't protect Iron Head.
Mm-hmm.
But like he had no reason in my mind to go for that type of play. Like, it wasn't... I didn't have sufficient reason to believe that that type of play was likely enough to make the read and go for the attack. I don't think that was a... I don't think it's a safe play to go for the attack there.
He, in this situation, wait for the Fake Tears, so that means that he doesn't think that Sludge Bomb is pressuring the Clefairy right now, right? After this turn of Sand, do you think it's more likely that he, thinks that? Or do you think he just stays in anyway because... he doesn't want anything, again, to switch in, so he's just going to take the Clefairy and then go from there.
I have no idea. I'm honestly not sure whether he, like, what he thinks about the damage calcs. The damage calcs, it turn out, show that Clefairy is actually in Sludge Bomb range, is very much within Sludge Bomb range after this, after the second turn of Sand.
Okay.
But it's so risky, because, like, if he switches in anything and I go for, Follow Me Earthquake, right, then he loses his Gengar, and if he switches in Como-O, he, like, loses his Como-O, and if he switches in, Bulu or something, and then he loses his Gengar, then I get to switch in Mence at the same time as he has something else in, so I get, like, a free Intimidate off.
If he does do that, then he would have the opportunity to stall the last turn of his own Tailwind. If you said that his Whimsicott did end up having Protect, then he could Protect on his last turn and Tailwind again. Perhaps that would give him an advantage. And I'm not sure. That's I think a few many turns ahead, I think.
So you say he switches. So you think his play here is to Sludge Bomb the Clefairy, switch out into Bulu. Whimsicott into Bulu.
If he expects you to Earthquake, yeah.
Yeah, Whimsicott into Bulu. And so if he expects me to Earthquake knocks out the Gengar, Clefairy gets knocked out, Bulu takes chip damage. I send in Salamence. What do you think he sends in?
Oh, then you get Tailwind before him. So, okay, that would change my outlook a little bit.
Yeah. I send in Salamence. He sends in Como-O. That actually probably wins him the game.
Now, how many turns? No, because you're still faster than him, right? So you're still threatening it. Oh no, you're right. Your Excadrill is slower than Como-O.
This is the other part of why this matchup is very, very difficult.
Yes.
I am not faster than the Como-O. If I am faster than the Como-O, this matchup is also very easy. But I am not. Yeah. So if I send in, so like Emforbes probably wins this game right here. By switching Whimsicott into Bulu. Because I'm unlikely to target the Gengar with Iron Head, I think. Because I'm unlikely to target the Whimsicott. I'm unlikely to target the Whimsicott with Iron Head.
Yeah, because you don't want a second Tailwind.
And even if I do target the Whimsicott with Iron Head, you have like reads you can make reads to win the game. So like the idea is first you have a very high likelihood of winning the game if you make this one play. And then you have an even higher likelihood of so you have a high likelihood of winning if you get the read that I'm not going to make one specific play. And then you have an even higher likelihood of winning, and then you still have a good likelihood of winning even if I do make it, because Komo-o in on men's escadrille should be a victory.
Yep.
Komo in on T-tar escadrille is a bit riskier because tailwind might end when you don't want it to. So if I knock out if I knock out the Bulu, he knocks out the Clefairy, and he sends in Komo-o, and I send in T-tar, and then it's then there's one turn of tailwind left, and then if he and then that looks a lot like what happens in Game 3 when it turns out he actually does win the game. So like.
Oh, not that far yet. You're spoiling the viewers.
The viewers know the outcome of the set.
Unfortunately.
Yes, Porygon 2 is a good Pokemon. For sure. So okay, yeah, I think switching out Whimsicott's correct, in my opinion.
Okay, well let's go ahead and play this next turn out then and see what happens.
So, next turn, he makes a bad play. Which is he goes for Fake Tear's Shadow Ball. And
which
that's
fails to knock out the Clefairy.
That's just incorrect.
No,
and I did actually Iron Head the Whimsicott. That's very strange. I'm not sure why I did that. I guess I thought that maybe he would go for Fake Tear Shadow Ball, Clefairy wouldn't get knocked out, and I didn't want to Earthquake into my own Clefairy. I wanted Whimsicott gone because I felt like Encore Pressure was actually what was scary and not Shadow Tag. So Whimsicott into Komo-o is bad, but Whimsicott into Bulu is not terrible.
Yep. So now that Komo-o is in, it's obviously...
and he chooses to send in Komo-o as opposed to Bulu, which I'm not sure is right.
He sends that in, and now is able to pressure with, obviously, attack into Clefairy, followed by attacking the Excadrill.
Yeah, Komo-o
if he wants to make a read and go for Leo Clangy Boy, but maybe he doesn't want to do that.
So Emilio can go for... I think you have to go for Clang here, because Protect is so easy for me. And if I Protect and you close combat, the game's over.
Yeah, it's because then you can just...
There's no way to win. Well, I send in Salamence, I Tailwind, and I Earthquake.
Yes, and then even if Komo-o goes for Clangy Boy then Excadrill didn't take enough damage.
Yeah, then Excadrill T-tar just clean up and Tailwind. So I think you have to Clang here, but I have to Protect anyway. Because I think it's too... Because I think I have win regard... So I could make the read. I could make the read and hit the... hit my Tech Rage button. And if I hit the read, I win the game. The problem is, if I miss the read, I lose the game. And that just feels...
too early to try that?
Yeah, because I think... Well, so, there are a lot of situations where if you hit the read, you win the game, and if you miss the read, you lose the game. Especially when you have two offensive teams facing off against each other. Yeah, Emilio, this is game 1. We just finished discussing why you didn't switch out Whimsicott on turn 3, when we thought you should have switched out into Bulu, which probably would have won the game. Feel free to tell the chat what's going on with that, because I'd be more than happy to hear. So yeah, so here I think I have to Protect because losing the game is just too easy, and the game's not over even if he Clangs on my Protect. Because I still have a turn of Sand after Tailwind's over, so I'm threatening the Z-move then, and then after that I have +2 Iron Head, which can threaten the Komo-o.
Yes, because +2 Iron Head will certainly pressure the Komo-o with enough damage after Tech Rage to Protect, even if he has boost.
Yeah. That's so that's where I am. So I think I protect, and I think he Z moves, and I think that that's an okay trade for both of us.
Alright, well, let's see what happens. Oh, there is a protect. Clefairy also protects, which is very nice because then you preserve the friend guard for the Flanker Soul Blaze.
Yup, that's what I was thinking. That is in fact precisely.
And then he crits you. Ha! You get to play
to do 12%. So Sandstorm knocks out Clefairy. I can either send in T-Tar or Salamence. I send in Salamence because Tailwind's really important. Because I'm about to run out of Sandstorm. I don't want to just, like, send in Tyranitar, he protects the Como-O, and then...
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I would do, yeah.
So I have to send in Salamence. So this next turn... Okay, you tell me what you're thinking.
So, you have the option now to pressure a knockout on Como-O with a Tech Rage.
Mm-hmm.
If you go for a Tailwind, you don't have to go for a Tailwind, but if you go for a Tailwind, then on the following turn you're also pressuring the Como-O.
Mm-hmm.
If you go for a Tech Rage and say Hyper Voice, then the following turn you can protect switching Tyranitar.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on whether or not you value Tailwind right now, or damage on the Gengar, or potentially if Gengar is switching out to something. At this point, I think it's pretty clear from Emforbes' end that after Swords Dance and seeing nothing else on your team, that's pretty clear that this Excadrill is Z-move, if you didn't already know.
Yeah, the Excadrill Z-move.
Yeah, so he is definitely inclined, I think, to do something defensive here with Como-O. Gengar is probably not threatening anything on Excadrill. This team doesn't carry Will-O-Wisp, I know. It definitely carries Disable. Yeah, I don't know why I said that. And Disable isn't really pressuring anything against the Z-move.
Yeah, and also
Shadow Ball shouldn't be pressuring a knockout on the Excadrill without a critical hit. So this is really strong position for you. You have a number of options with your Salamence. Like I said, you can either pressure the Gengar. If you did go for Tech Rage Hyper Voice, then it forces you to play defensively on the next turn, which is maybe something that Emforbes could take advantage of. So I could definitely see Tailwind being a very reasonable play here. I imagine Emforbes is going to play defensively with his Como-O.
So do you
we don't know his back Pokemon,
read the Protect on Como-O?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
If you read Protect on Como-O, then you can just immediately lose the game. Because if you read it and get it wrong, then you can immediately lose the game, because if it just close combats you like out of the blue, then
game's just over.
Well, he does not know, unless he knows the team, that your Salamence is not pressuring with the Double Edge.
I assume he knows the team.
Okay, so if the assumption is that he knows the team, then he should know that Como-O would beat Tyranitar and Salamence.
Yeah.
So if he made some sort of hard read, assume that you're going to go for some hard read.
Yeah.
Which would be, like, I guess, Earthquake Tailwind?
Earthquake Tailwind is the best play I could make covering for a Como-O Protect. If Como-O protects and I Earthquake Tailwind, the game's over.
Yes.
Barring silly...
the game's just over. Even if you did do that, like, how bad is that? Like, because if you do that, and then the following turn you send in Tyranitar, it forces you to double into the Como-O. That's the problem.
No, it forces me to double the Bulu.
Well, I mean, I guess it forces you to double something, and then you lose because the other Pokemon attacks you.
Well, no. So he has Bulu in the back.
But you don't know that. I mean, well, you can assume.
I actually assume, shortly after this turn, I assume that he doesn't have Bulu in the back, which is very interesting. I'll describe my thought process. But, so let's say I Earthquake, Tailwind, I knock out the Gengar, I do significant damage to the Como-O. Let's check how much.
How much damage is it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Apparently, +2 Tech Rage against Mega Gengar is 614%.
That's funny.
So it turns out that he's 52. That he's mild.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't know that.
I don't know
just
that.
Assume.
So I assume he's modest.
Yeah.
And he's +1 defense. +2 Earthquake does 53% to 63.5%.
That's really low.
Is not a lot. And then
does Ice Punch get the follow-up knockout? That's really important.
Tyranitar. Ice Punch. Does 33 to 39%. So that's 53 plus 33, which is 86, which is not enough.
Nope.
No. He's close combating.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yes, if you were to attack, then it would have to be close combat.
If he attacks, it has to be close combat. If it's not close combat, then I win. So
then you would be pressuring.
Earthquake Ice Punch does actually knock out. The problem is, I have to make the read on whether Bulu attacks, whether Como protects that turn.
Yep. So you introduce another 50-50.
But, well, it's not a 50-50, right? It's just a read situation. Because there's not a 50% chance that he protects on turn 5. There's like a 90% chance he protects on turn 5.
Oh, I would think about after the following turn, assuming you win for Earthquake.
Oh yeah.
And Tail.
Well, yeah. So what I'm saying is it's not another 50-50. I introduce a 50-50 if I lose the 90-10.
Yes. Oh, gotcha. Yes.
So it might make sense to just Earthquake here.
Yeah, Earthquake is fairly reasonable. How much does Hyper Voice do to offensive Bulu? It doesn't threaten a one-hit KO, does it?
I assume I'd have to double.
Let's check. Because
I think we'll see it. I think we'll see it on like turn 8 or something.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and play out this turn.
So let's check out turn 5. So I play this turn a bit safer than I probably had to. I think that Earthquaking, on reflection, Earthquaking is actually quite a bit better. But I take the Shadow Ball and I get the Tailwind up.
Oh, isn't this... No, it's not over because,
Is this over in whose favor? So who do you think wins?
Well, like, my immediate thought, after you do this turn, my first thought, like, this first thing that came to mind was, oh, he can just go for Hyper Voice Ironhead, but that's actually really dumb.
Yes.
Because then Gengar could knock out the Excadrill.
Yes.
You could go for Earthquake, but if you go for Earthquake, then he switches in Bulu, then that'd be bad, because then, again, the Clangy Boy lives.
Yes, precisely.
Well, actually, if you do that, if you go for Earthquake Hyper Voice and you get the knockout on the Bulu, then you send in the Tyranitar. Tyranitar now pressures the Como-O with Ice Punch, I think.
I have Ice Punch.
Does it do enough at that point?
How much damage does Earthquake do to Como again? I forgot.
You said like
no. Well, so it'll do 26% more. So
you also get 1 turn of Grassy Recovery.
2 turns of Grassy Recovery.
Yeah, so I think that puts the Como-O out of range.
No. If he switches into Bulu here and I Earthquake, so if he switches into Bulu and I Earthquake Hyper Voice, I lose the game because he just clanging Scales and the game's over.
Oh, yes, that is true. I didn't think about clanging Scales actually pressuring the Excadrill at this range.
So that's if I Earthquake. Something else that might be important to note here. What did he take? He took 35% and a Sandstorm tick. So he's taken like 41 to 44%. And so if we consider Excadrill, Ironhead doesn't necessarily... I don't think Ironhead necessarily KOs. That was one of the problems I was having in this position. Ironhead does a minimum of 56%, and I'm pretty sure that's above 56%.
Oh, no, he looks about at 56 from here.
There was a reason I didn't Ironhead here.
Well, I think also of note right now is that the Como-O, if he were to decide to protect again, then it'd be a double protect.
Yeah.
So, like, I think if you knock out the Komo-o, then you should be expecting to win against everything else in the back.
I expect to win against everything he has in the back.
Yeah.
But I was, in my mind, I felt like I had to KO Gengar this turn. I can't imagine why. I honestly don't remember. But in my mind, I was like, I have to KO Gengar. So I didn't want to Earthquake because of the potential of a incoming Bulu.
Okay. So let's see here. So
this turn, I protect Excadrill and Hyper Voice, and it's like if I could make a read, turn 6, you'd think I'd be able to make one on turn 5.
No, that was a really safe play. Hyper Voice puts Gengar into range of now you can actually safely Iron Head. And,
so the reason that was good is if he Clanging Scaleses, I just win, because I get in Tyranitar for free.
Because he lowers the defense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, this is actually brilliant play. I'm so smart. The only play he can make that at all punishes this is protecting Gengar and close combating Excadrill, which is bad. And so if he goes for the Clanging Scales, Excadrill just destroys him afterwards. And if he doesn't go for the Clanging Scales, then Gengar is in Ice Punch range of my Tyranitar Rock Slide range. And so that's actually... I didn't think of that. That's really smart.
Well, good.
Yeah, that wasn't a dumb play. I remember why I
also happened to call out his Double Protect.
Yes, I also managed to catch his Double Protect. So, like, I don't think the intention was to catch the Double Protect. I think the intention was, like, if he Clanging Scaleses, I win. And also, I need to do damage to Gengar right now. Because I didn't want to double the Komo-o with...
Yeah, like, obviously right now it would have been better for him to fail the Double Protect.
Yes.
You would
He would have preferred to fail the Double Protect in this position. So after turn 6, I'm like, okay, my play was very clearly Earthquake Flamethrower the Komo-o. Because that just beats every play you could possibly make. So I assume he doesn't have Bulu in the back. Because if he had Bulu, he would have switched it into the... Oh yes, I was also trying to catch the Bulu. Which would have been cool. And so I assume he doesn't have Bulu after turn 6. Because if he had Bulu, he would have switched it in to give Grassy Terrain. Was my thinking.
But clearly he didn't, so
but
yeah.
Clearly
right,
didn't, right? Like, does my thinking make sense?
Well, like, the protect on that he was attempting to go for was a double protect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I really don't know if that even changes all that much, to be honest.
What do you mean?
But, yeah. I unfortunately already clicked through the turn, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, after turn 6, do you think he has a Bulu in the back?
I don't really see, the option of him, like, going for switching to Bulu on your Earthquake to try to reduce it is, like, I guess one that he could have done, but, like, I don't really see how the Grassy Terrain would benefit him in a significant way.
Well, so if
I'm not, like, I wouldn't be certain of anything.
So my thought was that if he had Bulu, his only way to win the game is to catch me Earthquaking. And I'm most likely to Earthquake on turn 6. Because I'm likely to think it will knock out, and I'm likely to want to get the double KOs.
And that's part of the reason why Protect Hyper Voice is relatively safe there.
Yeah, so Emilio wanted to go for the double Protect to, Oh yeah, him being minus defense really would have helped, really would have made this much easier for me. if I had known that.
Yeah, but you didn't know that.
I did not know that at all. So I thought that he didn't have Bulu, but I also thought that he couldn't bait me into thinking he didn't have Bulu. So I decided to make the safer play next turn, because there's no point in risking the Bulu, and he can't go for the triple protect. So Emilio's job is to switch in Bulu here, right? Like, he has to catch it He has to catch it eventually. But I thought he had to catch it last turn.
Okay. So if you're not expecting the Bulu, then when you double target into Komodo, you guarantee something that slot goes down, and instead risk that Gengar could knock out Excadrill.
Yes, but then Ice Punch cleans up. The only thing that could go wrong with this play is if he has Heatran in the back.
Yeah, Heatran
and he switches Como into Heatran.
which is interesting, like, because if you don't think that Bulu is in the back at this point, then why did you Flamethrower in Ironhead?
Well, because I didn't think Ironhead knocked out.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think Ironhead. I thought Ironhead had a chance to not knock out. Okay, so turn 7. I go for the Ironhead Flamethrower into the Como-O because I didn't think Ironhead had the knockout. It looked like it was at around 62%. It looks like it was at around 57-ish%. So I wasn't willing to risk the the chance that like I could miss the knockout with Ironhead, especially considering that Ironhead does like 56, but I was looking at like the Earthquake 53 calcs, and maybe he could have been a bit of a bulkier Como-O. I didn't know what was going on. If he'd switched in Heatran there, I would have lost, and it would have been hilarious.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you did not at that point expect Bulu to be in the back, then that's really risky. Because if you knock out the Como-O and he does just Shadow Ball the Excadrill, then you have a lot of trouble breaking through the Heatran in the endgame.
No, that's not true. The only play that goes wrong is if he switches Como-O into Heatran.
Alright, with T-Tar... Yeah, actually it probably would be enough.
T-Tar Mence beats Heatran Gengar. That's just true. Because I can just alternate between Hyper Voice and Flamethrower on the Gengar to prevent myself from being caught by Disable. And low kick the Heatran, and Gengar probably just gets knocked out by Sand even if I can't touch it.
Yep.
So the only play that loses to is him switching Como into Heatran, and I don't think he thinks that that's smart, because I don't think he thinks that I'm doubling the Como-O, because he thinks I'm just Ironheading it, and so I'm preserving my calc. So I think that's like a risky play that I wasn't even considering, because I don't think you ever bring Heatran against this team with Como-O stuff.
Okay. So
I didn't even know it had in the back. I guess I thought it like I just don't even know. I was just like, no Bulu? Question mark? Where's the Bulu?
Yeah. Okay, well, then in that case, we doubled into the Como-O.
And
you doubled into the Como-O and knocked it out.
Yes.
And then at this point, it's...
he forfeits.
Yeah, he forfeits. Yeah, I don't see a way out of him. You just go for Hyper Voice, Ironhead. The next turn you go for Protect, Tailwind, and...
Yes. The game's just
over.
There's nothing.
There's
literally nothing.
He needs something. He needs something.
Wait, okay, there might be something.
Maybe if he was Scarf still and crits Stone Edge. So kind of that forfeit.
If he was Scarf,
no, Scarf, then he can't.
Scarf, he can't. Yeah. No, there is nothing because Sludge Bomb. That's with Friend Guard. There is something. I actually, I don't like. No, there's nothing. There's actually just nothing.
Yeah.
Because
so you just preserve the Bulu item and.
No. So the reason there's nothing is because he double protects, knocks out my Salamence with a crit as I protect, and then I get in Tyranitar for free.
And then you get Sand anyway.
And then I have Sand, and then I have Ironhead Assurance.
Yep.
No, I don't have Ironhead Assurance.
Well, yeah, you just use Ice Punch, but the equivalent.
No, that actually is losing. No, I...
No, you win.
No,
Unless he disables.
No, I don't, because I, So, crit, Sludge Bomb, KO Salamence. So, what happens... Okay, so here's what happens, for anyone on the stream who's not following the thought process. So, turn 7 happens, he switches in Mega Gengar, Emilio double protects, stalls out Tailwind, I protect Excadrill, Tailwind with Salamence. He crits the Sludge Bomb, knocks out the Salamence. I send in Tyranitar. So now he has a Bulu that hasn't protected, and a Gengar that hasn't protected, against Scarf T-Tar and Excadrill.
Yeah, so I don't see a play that he can make other than double protect on Bulu, disable the Iron Head.
That's not a double... He doesn't need to double protect, because his Bulu is not double protecting.
No, I'm saying... Oh, yes, you're right. It's not a double protect at that range. Oh, I see. Yeah, so he goes for just a normal protect, and then disables the Iron Head on that.
Normal protect disables the Iron Head, or just normal protect... no, normal protect disables the Iron Head doesn't work. Normal protect Shadow Ball works a lot better.
Oh, yeah, I did the same thing.
Normal protect Shadow Ball knocks out. And then I have to crit or freeze the Ice Punch.
Yeah.
On the next turn. So I think this was a bad play from Emilio for not recognizing that there was a way to win the game.
That's a very low win con.
It is, no,
win con, and you could potentially reveal Bulu item.
It is a crit chance to win.
I don't know. Like, I think he could give up Bulu item for that.
So you think 23 out of 24 times, you think it's worth... but he assumes I know the Bulu item, because his team is known.
Oh, okay. Well, if you assume that, then yeah, I'd play it out.
I think. Emilio, are you in the chat still? Emforbes, you there? Okay, well, anyway, so I think that if he thinks I know the Bulu item... Okay, alright, what do you think of the discussion we're having right now about your win con? Oh, yeah, if you don't crit the Mence with Sludge Bomb, you forfeit and then you don't give up the Bulu item.
Yes. Yeah.
No, but you give up the Bulu is not Scarf.
Yeah, you give up Bulu is not Scarf, so you give up the item in that respect. Well, I guess it could be like slow Scarf Bulu, but whatever, you know.
Protect Scarf Bulu.
Protect Scarf
Bulu. It is not.
Protect the play. It wouldn't even matter then.
It reveals that Bulu... So you reveal that Bulu has Protect for a 1 in 24 chance to win the game.
Well, yeah. No, because I can also read that your Bulu is protecting an Iron Head the Gengar.
Yes, so I could make a read to win the game, but like there's a crit chance and then a read to win the game.
Yeah.
Did you assume I know, Emilio? Did you assume I knew your item? So yeah, I think that this forfeit might have been a bit preemptive, possibly. Game 2. Turns out we're only going to do one set because we're trying to do this as in-depth as possible.
Yeah, we're doing this like super in-depth because like you're the one who played the set, so you have a lot more thoughts on it.
Yes, but also because I think this is what's valuable. I think if I didn't do this, analysis wouldn't really be interesting. I don't know.
All right.
I wouldn't be interested in slow analysis. Okay, so going into Game 2, my thought process was that I had no clue what the fuck was going on. I had absolutely no idea how to win Game 2 of this set.
Let's see. What do you think his adjustment is? That's the most important thing. What do you think his adjustment is to T-Tar Excadrill lead with the sort of plays that you made?
Okay, so the first thing in my mind is that I was not supposed to win Game 1 because this matchup is an auto loss. This matchup is an auto loss. I'm not supposed to win any games in this matchup. So I pulled something out of my ass, and I'm just like, how can I came up with a really good game plan in Team Preview. I was sitting down and I thought for a really long time, and I was like, this is my game plan for Game 1. And then I just didn't have any ideas for Game 2. So my idea for his adaptation was I thought he was going to Fake Tears Shadow Ball the Excadrill, turn 1.
Oh, wow, that would be, well, wait, why would that be his adaptation? To double into the Excadrill when you protected the last time?
No, last time I Swords Danced.
Oh, you did Swords Dance last time, correct?
Yes. I Swords Danced in front of the Fake Tears Shadow Ball.
Oh, potential play, yep. And we already know that Fake Tear Shadow Ball is threatening a knockout, even with Friend Guard.
Yeah,
most
it's
of the
a
time.
very, very good chance that it will KO.
Yeah.
So my thought so I had no clue what else to go for. So my game plan going into this game is to switch in Salamence and Earthquake. I don't know what I expect him to do in Toon Preview. I think I expect him to bring the same stuff, because you don't really want to bring Kartana into the Excadrill. Kartana doesn't really do much to the Excadrill.
No. Kartana's bad anyway, so I usually refrain from bringing it if I can help it.
Okay, man. That's an opinion, I guess. I don't really know what his adaptation is, but... So, I just kind of throw caution to wind, and I'm like, maybe his adaptation will be to not let me Swords Dance, and so he's gonna, lead something else, but, I have to lead the same thing to have the... No, he's just gonna lead the same thing, because it's so advantageous. But I think he's gonna double the Excadrill, or, that he might. I'm just hoping and praying at this point.
Yeah, I don't see a reason for him not to lead Gengar Whimsicott. Tailwind is just too valuable, I think. Being able to match Excadrill's speed is crucially important, because Excadrill is your key part in winning the match.
Yeah, so Emilio did think about Fake Tears Shadow Ball, but if I Earthquaked, he lost the set, so he'd rather pick up on his Game 1 misplays and start the same. Yeah, so he thought, the same thing, but I just wanted to, maybe catch out the bad play, the one bad play he might make, and just, please God, let me win the set.
Yeah. Well, let's watch turn 1 then.
Yeah. So I lead the same thing.
Yeah.
Emilio leads the same thing. And so I go for the Salamence switch in and Earthquake. And he switches into Bulu and Tailwinds.
Yeah. So let's think about what his adaptation was there with respect to your Game 1 play.
So first I want to check something, actually.
Okay.
Excadrill, Gengar. So Ironhead doesn't one-shot. So I'm justified in making the Earthquake play. If Ironhead had... that's not a bad idea.
Oh, yeah, just flinch to your opponent. Actually, you can't flinch your opponent, though, so...
Yes, I can. I'm faster.
No, you can't. But you can't, because, you never flinch your opponent.
I just don't. Yeah, no, it's actually super silly. During the MSSs I was playing with this team, I got really tilted towards the second day about not getting any flinches, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna Ironhead this thing and it's gonna flinch, and it just wouldn't. I was just like, we're gonna Rock Slime, we're gonna get flinches, and it just wouldn't. I was like, what the come on, man. I got caught in the gambler's fallacy, even though I'm a mathematician.
Because it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to do that.
It's so easy to get caught up in the gambler's fallacy. So he switches in Bulu and Tailwinds, and I just wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, because from my perspective looking in, we still don't know the Bulu's item. But nevertheless, if you go Clefairy, then I don't really see what changed if you go for the same Swords Dance and switch to Clefairy play.
Yeah, because if I Swords Dance switch to Clefairy, I think I should just win this game.
Well, it's certainly advantageous. Is your Excadrill faster than his Bulu?
Oh. Actually, I'm really frustrated because I should have seen the Sandstorm ticks and known that his Whimsicott was faster than his Bulu, so his Bulu wasn't Scarf.
Yes, that was probably oversight. That was an oversight on your part.
It is quite frustrating that was something I skipped over.
Mm-hmm. So I'm still trying to understand. So perhaps if Emilio could comment in chat, because from my perspective on next turn, well, I suppose actually he can go for a Protect and knock out the Clefairy. Maybe not expecting
knock out the Clefairy with what?
I'm assuming Life Orb Wood Hammer knocks out Clefairy.
Yeah, I mean, and then go for and then he trades Bulu for Clefairy. And then he Fake Tear Shadow Balls the Excadrill in Tailwind.
Mm-hmm. And that's tough.
Yes, that's very difficult to deal with, actually. I could... Yeah, and he could just Woodhammer the Excadrill, and I think... Let's do a damage calc. I think Life Orb Woodhammer should KO through Friend Guard.
On Excadrill? Yeah, I'd say so.
Life Orb, Woodhammer, Grassy Terrain.
Yeah,
oh my
tough.
god. Yeah, it murders Excadrill. It does... so I'm a bit bulkier. This is all Sage and Spread, so I'm not worried about revealing anything. Yeah, it does minimum 113%.
Oh, well. And that is with Friend Guard on?
Yes.
Jeez.
I could, however, switch Excadrill into Salamence.
Yes, I suppose.
I probably would, if I was in that position. I would probably switch Excadrill into Salamence.
But by doing so, you're consistently removing the pressure for when Komo-o comes in.
Yes. I think this Bulu play is actually very smart.
Okay. So that helps me understand his perspective a little bit better then.
Yeah. And so, turn 2, I'm thinking that this is Scarf Bulu. And I'm just really confused and I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if it's Scarf Bulu, he's going to lock into... and so, like, I'm considering a bunch of plays. I'm like, oh, it's Scarf Bulu. I can switch in Clefairy and Iron Head. But that's weak to, like, Encore on the Earthquake.
Mm-hmm. That's really weak to that,
yeah. Yeah. Or that's weak to, like, switch in Komo-o and Swords and Stone Edge. I just really... I honestly don't know what I was thinking at this point. It started to get a bit rough, and, like, his options are numerous, and I have very few. But I don't think...
Every knockout you take at this point is an opportunity for him to get Komo-o and Tailwind. And,
I'm not sure why I don't just Tailwind. Why don't I just Tailwind here?
Well, you're pressured by Encore, so maybe just, like, trained not to do that.
I'm not pressured by Encore at all.
What do you mean you're pressured by Encore?
I just switch.
Well, I guess you could, but then, like, you have, what? Are you assuming Excadrill makes it through the turn?
Tailwind Protect.
Tailwind Protect. Then on the following turn,
switch into Clefairy Ironhead.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, you'd also have to make sure the Encore wasn't into the Excadrill, but yeah.
Right. So I have to make sure the Encore is not into the Excadrill, so then I can... Right, that's one of the problems with it. I can't Tailwind because Encore is a bit too pressuring.
Yeah, I mean, you have pressure with Hyper Voice and Ironhead, but he can do something like, Encore the Excadrill, switch to Komo-o. Well, actually, it's not as bad if Excadrill's Encore, because you do have the option to Tech Rage.
It's pretty bad because I can't Swords, because he Encores...
You're so Tailwind at that point.
I Tailwind Protect, and then he Encores as I switch in Clefairy. Then, like, Excadrill doesn't threaten the Bulu, and then Bulu knocks me out with Woodhammer.
Yeah.
No, but he can't...
Yeah, you're not threatening what's
no.
in front of your face. Yeah.
He can't go for that. That's way too risky. He's never going to go for that. So, if I Tailwind... and Protect... And Whimsicott protects... Then he Encores the Salamence... and switches into Komo-o.
You could... Yeah,
that's what he does next turn. That's what he does next. No, he can't.
Because they just... He's also threatened next turn. Like,
Pokemon's hard, man.
I think it's generally safe to say that, in some situation, he is able to lock down one of your Pokemon and is able to pressure Komo-o on the next turn. Is that true?
That's probably fair.
Yeah.
I feel like we should start moving a bit quicker because I need to go to bed soon, and
Pokemon
analysis is hard. And so, something that's really important to note about offensive teams in this format This is the type of play you need to be thinking about. You need to know when exactly you can pressure your opponents and how you can... oh, Emilio has some things. I don't know. I don't even understand. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, so you need to plan out your game plan. This team works very well with a game plan, but like if you're just going turn by turn, like I'm doing in this game, it doesn't really work. On turn 2, I think he's Scarf Bulu, and I think he needs to like stay in with Whimsicott, kind of like predicting a like maybe encoring the Excadrill or something. So I try and go for a Hyper Voice because Whimsicott's really threatening, and once I get rid of the Encore, the trap isn't as scary. Because I can just like dance around in the trap.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and play out the next turn.
Let's go ahead and play it. So I just like do something. And he Life Orb Rock slides. And I don't realize
that's such low damage.
That his Life Orb did nothing, and I knock out his Bulu.
Oh, this is really poor for you now.
Yeah, and that's really bad. And he sends in Gengar because Gengar is Gengar better than Whimsicott here? Yeah, because it can offer offensive pressure against Clefairy on like turn 5.
Yeah, I like Gengar here.
Yeah.
He has an interesting choice. Will Shadow Ball and the Clangy Boy move, will that knock out Excadrill? Next question after that, will it knock out Excadrill after Friend Guard? I think that answer is no.
It definitely won't knock out Excadrill after Friend Guard. Clang. Without Friend Guard, Clang does 47.8 min.
Oh, that does enough. I think even with Friend Guard.
No, with Friend Guard, it doesn't, because your damage calcs on Shadow Ball are based on a non-Friend Guard calc. So with Friend Guard, Clangs does 30% minimum, and 35% maximum, and then Gengar, with Friend Guard up, does 54% maximum. So maximum, that's 90%.
Yeah, so that's not nearly enough.
But he can just double and try and knock out. But it's a bit risky. It's definitely a bit risky. Oh man, how do the rest of these games go? I've forgotten a lot of the details. So here I expect him to... What do I expect him to do?
Well, if he's pressuring with... definitely, in some ways, he's definitely pressuring with a Sludge Bomb into the Salamence. And then he could close combat the Excadrill.
That loses...
It's super easy because it doesn't pressure the Clefairy.
That loses to Swords Dance. No, it doesn't, because he can then clang through... That doesn't lose to Swords Dance. That loses to Swords Dance switching Clefairy, except it doesn't, because then he can pressure the Clang through Protect.
Yeah, which should do enough.
Well,
no, last time it crit and did like 12. So it shouldn't do that much. And you have Grassy Terrain right now. Don't forget that.
That is true. That's true. Swords Dance switching Clefairy might be my best option here.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and play it out.
Yeah, okay.
Because like you said,
This is just like a very strange situation. So I do switch in Clefairy. Do I Swords Dance?
Well, you might have, but you died.
No, I Tech Raged. Tech Raged. I switch in Clefairy because I feel like there's a chance he doesn't. He goes for the double with the wrong moves. With the Clangorous Soul Blaze, and so I feel like there's a chance I might be able to catch him out.
Yeah.
And so at this point, I'm kind of just saying, maybe I win this game, right? But I actually did expect him to double the Excadrill because he had no good reason not to. Because if I switch Excadrill into Clefairy, what am I doing? I just lose the game faster. So I had no way to switch out Excadrill, so the double there into Excadrill is actually very safe. I probably should have gone for the double Protect. I think double protect is the smartest play.
If you get that off, then on the following turn,
follow me Swords Dance.
Yeah. If you do that, then he knocks out Clefairy, and I think you get sand in at the right time, right? That does time sand well enough?
No, I send in Mence, and I have to go for Tailwind.
Okay. So that's okay, because you still have that one turn of sand. And,
yeah, I have one turn of sand to pressure. It gets into a very similar situation to Game 1.
Yeah.
Where I have one turn of sand. So I think that should have been a double protect, as opposed to hoping and praying that Emilio messes up.
Yeah.
And I should have calced this damage calc out a bit better. So I can't send in Salamence, because then I lose. So I send in T-Tar, and I have to go for HH Ice Punch, and that's the only way I win the game. So I have to do it. There's just no other out at this point.
And then he goes for the Clangy Boy. And that's pretty neutral. Hard to stop that.
Yeah. So he's definitely going for Clangorous Soul Blaze, which is why I feel comfortable going for the Helping Hand Ice Punch. Because because Follow Me is a bit too threatening.
Yeah. And then it's just
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ice Punch doesn't do enough damage, and it actually does just under a damage roll that would have knocked out just under a damage roll that would have knocked out with sand damage.
Yeah.
And so then I just make like a standard play of I have to sacrifice Clefairy because he's going to double the Tyranitar because 100% safe. Because there's so just for anyone who's not necessarily understanding, I'm sure most of you do. Clefairy can't do anything. Tyranitar Scarf. He doubles the Tyranitar. If Clefairy protects, Tyranitar gets knocked out and I lose. And if he doubles the Clefairy, then that's fine. And he doesn't have a good enough reason to protect Como-O, although he definitely could have. But no, because Clefairy doesn't get knocked out to Sludge Bomb. Like, it's just 100% safe. There's no risk, no reward. And then everyone seems to think I win this game in the chat.
What?
So after turn 6, after turn 5, people seem to think I have a way to play the rest of this game out such that I don't lose. But I don't think I do.
On turn 6?
Yeah, so right before turn 6. I don't think there's a way out.
Not with Disable.
Yeah, with Disable. I don't think there's a way out.
Yeah, especially not with Protect Disable. I mean, maybe if you went for Hyper Voice and then like struggle hit the Gengar and crit, maybe. Like if you Hyper Voice and then protect the Mence and struggle hits Gengar.
If I Hyper Voice and then crit the struggle,
then you'd win, right?
I think I win. If I crit either Hyper Voice or the correct struggle, I think I win the game. I was kind of. I thought he was going to. I thought my win con was hoping he attacked Mence. I thought he was going to attack the Mence.
Okay.
Because
so
I didn't think there was.
You considered that play more of higher probability than critting and hitting the correct struggle target.
Yeah. So I thought he was going to Sludge Bomb the Salamence, because I thought that was just free. Because Tyranitar doesn't do anything, and so you can just disable Tyranitar at your leisure.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the Ice Punch freeze is more threatening than the
critical hit. Yep.
Is more threatening than the critical hit. So Emilio correctly goes for Disable, Protect. The only out to this is me critting Hyper Voice, and so I guess I should have gone for that.
Yeah. He hadn't revealed Protect on Whimsicott to that point yet.
That is true. I did not actually know it had Protect.
Yeah. So I think both plays were reasonable at this point. I think it's very probable that Emilio wins the game, and he just locks it up with revealing a move.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to move on to 3?
Yeah. So in game 3, I decide that my only way to win, my only game plan that made any sense at all was going for Clefairy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's not going to respect it in the same way he didn't respect it in the first game.
Okay.
So I decided that I have to go for it.
Yep. All right. So leads are the same. No surprise there.
Leads are the same, no surprise. Turn 1 plays are the same as in game 1.
Okay.
So we do the same thing. I decide to just, go for the game 1 game plan. He goes for the game 1 game plan. I'm not sure why he does. I guess he decided that, risking Iron Head onto Gengar was a bit too risky. It wasn't really worth it. Which is, fair enough. If I switch in Clefairy and Iron Head Gengar and he switches in Bulu, I think he just loses.
Yeah, it's harder for him, for sure.
It's very difficult, at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, game 3, turn 1 works out the same as game 1, turn 1. So we've seen it before.
So this game, I decide that the double protect is a bit too obvious, and that Fake Tears Shadow Ball into Excadrill, which is something he did not go for in game 1, is very unlikely, considering that Fake Tears Shadow Ball doesn't KO the Clefairy.
Yeah, he saw that, and he made that mistake last time.
Yes. And the mistake I made in game 1 was that I Iron-Headed the one of the mistakes I made in game 1 is that I Iron-Headed the Whimsicott, not freeing myself from the trap. Whimsicott is... And so in this game I decided that Whimsicott is less of the threat. Gengar is the threat.
And it just protected, too.
And it just protected. Game 1 I went for the Iron Head onto Whimsicott, even though Gengar had just protected, though.
Yes.
But this time I decided it's smarter to go for the Gengar. Partly because I didn't do it in game 1. In game 1, I guess I also thought he might switch. So here I'm like, okay, we can go for the Gengar and get the knockout.
And last time, another important thing to note is that last time you went for a double protect in that situation.
Yes. So I think Emilio is going to make a potentially more passive play or perhaps focus into the Clefairy slot.
So this time you solely protect with Clefairy, and the Iron Head knocks out the Taboo on the switch-in.
Yes. And so I got the wrong switch-in, and so, which really sucked. That really sucked. If I had gotten the Como-O on the switch-in, I'm pretty sure the game is just over. Because, it turns out he's 52 mild.
I think it does enough after Sand, no matter what, if he isn't mild.
No, he does need to be mild, actually. It doesn't necessarily do enough after Sand, but assuming there is Sand, there is a 157 minus 9 is 148. There is a 13 out of 16 chance for me to one-shot with plus 2 Iron Head.
So then it was definitely, Emilio was definitely really happy that you didn't go for the Iron Head onto Whimsicott again.
Yes.
Obviously you did that a turn after, but now that Iron Head is...
Yes, I did do that a turn later. When I was also not sure that the Gengar wasn't going to protect.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just, pick up an advantage.
Let's think about what Emforbes was thinking on that turn.
So
I think he was trying to get a defensive play from you. And so, what does he do with his new advantageous state?
His new advantageous?
Because
if
you're still pressuring a Tech Rage onto the Como-O, obviously.
Oh, wait, we haven't... what does he do with his new advantageous state if I double protect?
Yeah, he probably protects in Life Orb Wood Hammers, right?
It depends on which is faster, the Bulu or the Como-O.
I imagine...
The Como-O is faster. He'd probably protect Wood Hammers.
Yeah. And then on the following turn...
And then on the following turn, he can just close combat. He can just close combat... No, because -1 close combat doesn't KO. So if he protects... Okay. We're going to reverse the sides for 1 second. And we're going to pause. Okay. So Jonathan double protects. And I am Amelia.
So a protect Life Orb Wood Hammer into Clefairy.
So if he doesn't protect and I Tech Rage the Como-O, I win.
Yeah. So he probably is not going to let you do that. He could also maybe switch. Nah, he probably wouldn't switch it. I mean, he could switch into Whimsicott and Woodhammer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I don't think that makes too much sense.
Yeah,
I don't think that does anything.
Makes more sense.
I think Protect makes a lot more sense. Okay, so he could Protect. He can also make the read. So there's the read situation of whether I'm going to Tech Rage the Komo-o. I think because I'm in a negative position, I would probably Ironhead the Bulu.
Okay.
But he always has the potential to like flip that on me.
Yeah.
I'm bad with using my Z moves actually, so I might just Z move the Komo-o. So he protects. He trades Bulu for Clefairy. I send in Salamence. He sends in Gengar.
Probably Gengar, yeah. And then since Excadrill just protected.
No, Excadrill just Ironheaded.
Excadrill didn't protect, yeah.
Excadrill just Ironheaded the Bulu.
Mm-hmm.
So since Excadrill just Ironheaded the Bulu, you can just Shadow Ball Clegorous Soul Blaze.
That pressure is immense. It wouldn't pressure.
It KOs Excadrill without Friend Guard.
Oh, it would, because it's without Friend Guard.
Yes,
yep.
Friend Guard is the key.
Yep. Okay, and since without Friend Guard, so that would be really good for Emilio. So I really like that game plan from that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, well, so hold up. So then his Tailwind ends. Because I double so Tailwind is 3 turns as Bulu switches in. So 3 turns as Bulu switches in. At the end of that, that's 2 turns. It's 2 turns as Bulu knocks out the Clefairy and Excadrill knocks out the Bulu. So then there's 1 turn. I double protect on his Z move Shadow Ball.
Okay.
And then I just Tech Rage Tailwind. I take the Clangorous Soul Blaze. I take the Shadow Ball as I Tech Rage. And then we're in the same position as Game 1. Except he has Whimsicott in the back instead of Bulu.
Yeah.
Which is better for me because I can then Earthquake Flamethrower. No, I can't Earthquake Flamethrower because Grassy Terrain will still be up. So I can double protect into Earthquake Flamethrower. So I think that's actually a bad game plan. If we assume that you trade Bulu for Clefairy while protecting Komo-o.
Yes.
I think that's actually losing.
I still think that you're inclined to Z-move the Komo-o there, though. Just based on like how much pressure that you've been exerting on it throughout the past couple of games. I would say it's fairly reasonable to assume that you Tech Rage Komo-o, so maybe that's like a little... a better read that you can make, like, or a more informed read.
Sure. So if we're assuming that we trade Bulu for Clefairy, the game is pretty much over. If we assume we trade Bulu for Clefairy on turn 3.
Yep.
So that's negative. But instead of Z-moving, you could switch in Whimsicott.
Yes,
on the last turn of Tailwind. And then...
Yeah, and then that would catch your Protect.
And that would catch the Protects. But +2 Z-move KOs Gengar through Protect. I'm just going to say that. That's just true. I just know that. I know that. We did the damage calc earlier. I know that. So, for anyone who hasn't been paying as much attention as I have, the situation in my mind is Tailwind has just ended. There are 2 turns left of Grassy Terrain. There's 1 turn left of Sandstorm. And Emilio has full health Gengar, full health Whimsicott, but Whimsicott has its Sash broken. Against full health Salamence, full health Excadrill, both of whom have used Protect. So that's still losing, I think. Because I can Tech Rage the Excadrill. I can Tech Rage the Gengar. If he Encores the Protect, and I Hyper Voice. Actually, yeah. So, Protect, Encore Excadrill's Protect might be winning. Because if you burn the Tech Rage, which I might be forced to do, then you win. And also, if you can't if you disable Protect on the turn the Z move goes through. But like if you can catch the Z move from Excadrill while encoring it into Protect, you win. So if his game plan is trade Bulu for Clefairy and then switch out Kommo-o into Whimsicott, I think that's a good enough game plan.
Okay. And that is all, again, assuming, just to clarify for people who are following up to this point,
don't Tech Rage the Kommo-o.
No, then you double Protect on turn 2.
Double Protect on turn 2, the same way I did in game 1. And I Iron Head the Bulu on the read of the Kommo-o Protect. And I think Emilio wins if he switches into Whimsicott, if I don't read that. But I might read that. I could see myself reading that. But that's very unlikely. That's a very difficult read to make.
Okay. I think that was a good analysis of a hypothetical. But let's go ahead
Well done. Yes, no, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, let's get back to the game.
Yes, okay, the game that happened.
Yeah, so we Iron Head the Bulu, and Bulu down.
Bulu down. Bulu down! Bulu down! Okay, and here's where the choke happens. So he sends in Mega Gengar. So, start of turn 3. What are you thinking?
Well, I still don't... we saw in one of the games that a Sludge Bomb after 2 turns of sand knocked out the Clefairy. But I believe you said that it's not the case, just do that after 1 turn of sand?
Hold up, let me check. So, in game 1, which was when Clefairy was... Was Clefairy Sludge Bombed in game 2? In game 2, Clefairy was Sludge Bombed after a close combat, so no. In game 1...
He saw Fake Tears Shadow Ball damage. That's what he saw.
In game 1, Fake Tears Shadow Ball did 77 to 81%. Yeah, that's what we saw. We've never seen Gengar actually Sludge Bomb the Clefairy.
Okay. Do you think he could have gotten a good enough read on your spread? Or you could assume that he knows your spread based on Sajan's stuff?
No. I also didn't calc, for some reason, the Sludge Bomb on the Clefairy. I just don't know why. Emilio was amazing for not putting on timer, by the way. That was really great of him.
I like it when opponents don't do that.
Yeah, no, because I told him beforehand that I didn't want timer on, because I wanted to have, like... I think I play Pokemon a lot better when I'm not just, like, clicking buttons. Like, if I'm clicking buttons, you know, games might just end, right? But if I'm like sitting there and like, here's the game plan, here's what I'm gonna do. I think that's part why I did well at Worlds, the time I did well at Worlds. Like I was forcing myself to take the full time each turn because I wanted to timer stall all my opponents. So inadvertently, I was just thinking a lot about the turns. And
I was accidentally thinking about how to play the game, right?
I was accidentally thinking about how to play Pokemon properly. So I probably played a lot better than I would have otherwise because I wasn't just locking in, you know, 5 seconds into my clock. Which is what I do a lot because, you know, I think during the terrain animation, during like the animations and stuff like that. So I often am pretty convinced of a move by the time the turn starts. But I play a lot better when I, at least at home, when I sit down and I like think through the turns and give them like their full respect. Anyway,
yeah.
So turn 3.
Yep. So now the Gengar is in. Have we got the Sludge Bomb calc?
Should I put it up?
I can't see it because I don't have this stream open.
Yes,
so
okay.
Just tell me what the max damage is.
Okay, so Gengar... Oh yes, my Clefairy does not have Friend Guard. The minimum damage is 86%, the maximum damage is 102.8.
Ooh, so that's a close one. And if I'm calculating as Emilio, then I'm probably, worried that that's not going to knock it out.
Yes, I would expect
it not to. If I'm worried that it's not going to knock it out, then something like Sludge Bomb Close Combat is not nearly as straightforward as it would be otherwise.
Yes.
So, keeping that in mind, then I'm not really sure, because we want to, we need to, or Emilio needs to find some way of making sure one of his Pokemon does not faint this turn. I think that's important.
Yes.
I think if a Pokemon faints, and that's really bad for him. If you Iron Head into the Gengar as he
protects,
then that's really bad for him. If you Tech Rage as he clangs or does something not protect, that's bad for him.
Yeah.
I think even if he switches to Whimsicott and you Tech Rage onto the Komo, that's still not the best for him.
I'm pretty sure I win if I do that.
Yeah.
Because I get Flamethrower, Ice Punch into the Komo after an Iron Head into it.
Yeah, so this is a tough turn for Emilio, but similarly a tough turn for you because if you go for something like Follow Me and Tech Rage into Komo, and there's a Sludge Bomb into Clefairy, and it doesn't knock Clefairy out. It doesn't matter if it knocks Clefairy out because Sand will. Then on the following turn, he's going to be able to, he can't double into the Excadrill, but he probably can get his boost. Oh, no, he definitely can get his boost, because we showed that Shadow Ball and the Clingy stuff will get it. And then, now you don't have your Z move. Because he has Grassy Terrain. So, yeah. So you're probably worried about that. So, Emilio doesn't want to lose a Pokemon, and you would prefer not to lose that much out of this turn. So if I were in your shoes, John, then I would probably go for something like Follow Me, Tech Rage into Komodo. That's probably what I would do. I don't know if it would work or not.
Yeah. So I thought I had here's where I was in this point. I thought I had a good game plan. I thought I could Tech Rage the Komo-O and still I had the read on this turn. That Komo was protecting and Gengar was sludge bombing.
Okay.
I think that's just pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Komo can't afford to Clanger his Soul Blaze. Sludge Bomb probably isn't going to knock out Clefairy, given that +2 Shadow Ball did 77 to 81%. So the +10 base power might transition into a knockout, but it's not enough to be comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I think what my game plan was Tech Rage the Komo-O through Protect, send in Tyranitar, get the Komo-O to -1 defense, and then Tailwind Iron Head the Komo-O on the last turn of Sandstorm, and then knock out the rest of Emilio's Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
This was my thought process. I force him not to, and so I thought, if I do this, I can win the game. And it covers for him going for Clangorous Soul Blaze, which is a definite possibility, because Clangorous Soul Blaze might enable him to win if I Iron Head the Gengar.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
It opens up the pot. Well, no, if you Iron Head the Gengar...
And Clangorous Soul Blaze lets him win, because I think +1 Clanging Scales KO Salamence.
Yeah, it should.
I hope it does. Otherwise, Komo-O is very silly.
Well, I mean, it's shiny already, so it looks pretty bad, from my opinion.
Yeah.
Who uses shiny Komo-O? Who thought that was a good idea to make that then?
Yes. Okay, you Super KO Salamence. So, what he can do is he can go for... So if he Clangorous Soul Blazes my Excadrill, he can then go for Fake Tears Clanging Scales, which KOs... which should KO... without Friend Guard. So Clangorous Soul Blaze does 30%. And then +1 -2. Clanging Scales does 74%. Minimum, which, like, is a KO, except unless you get, like, double min rolls, considering grassy terrain, of course. So, if he Clanging Scales and I knock out Gengar, he wins. If he clangs and I knock out Gengar, he wins.
Let's play out turn 3.
But I didn't have a good enough game plan. So Emilio goes for the play that he thought he would make, that I thought he would make, but I decide not to read into it. Clefairy, I Ironhead.
Yeah.
I don't know what
because now you don't have the damage you needed on the...
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, now you don't have the damage you needed to be able to pressure the following turns.
I thought that maybe... I don't know what that Ironhead was. That Ironhead's so bad. That doesn't cover for anything. Here's what it does. So the Ironhead into +2 Tech Rage through Protect when he's at +1 is a knockout. We saw that kind of in Game 1.
Okay.
So I'm, like, Ironheading to cover for the mid-ground play, I guess. This doesn't sound convincing to me. I'm not very impressed.
Okay. Yeah, so that's okay. It's not like... Yeah. I mean, like, you know what I mean. Yeah.
I'm not impressed with this play.
And so, but then on this following turn, now it's just...
So then I send in Tyranitar, and then I make the play that I know he's going to read into again. My game plan is letting him read me twice. And I decided to just let him get away with it.
I don't even think he needed to... Wait, why did he need to... Was it necessary for him to close combat there?
Okay, so basically
I thought clanging was safe.
Close combat's the... No, it's not.
No, it's not, because you haven't used Z-move. You're right. Okay.
I still have my Z-move. Yep.
Yeah.
So my plan was to get him to -1 defense. He has to close combat because I still have Z-move. The plan was to get him to -1 defense and to reduce his attack. As I had Sandstorm after Tailwind was over. Like, this was the game plan. So in this position, I think I'm actually doing pretty okay.
Yeah, it's definitely better than before, because now he's out of Tailwind.
Yep.
Salamence has got Intimidate down on the Komodo, so it's no longer pressuring a knockout on Excadrill immediately.
Yep.
Earthquake is pressuring a knockout on Gengar, but that's kind of dumb. You wouldn't do that. So you can Tech Rage the Komodo and Tailwind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that. If you knock it out,
that's
and then
wrong,
if you Tech Rage the Komodo and Tailwind, and then Whimsicott comes in, then he encores you into Tailwind, but you go for Earthquake, so that doesn't work for him. So he would need to. He needs to find some way.
He encores me into Tailwind.
Switches
out Komo-O and protects the Whimsicott.
I'm assuming you Tech Rage him on this turn.
I actually don't remember. I hope I do. I probably don't.
Yeah, I'm making the assumption that you... I mean, I guess you don't have to.
Oh my god! Who is this idiot?
So you are...
Who's this? Who's this idiot?
But you didn't Tech Rage.
No, I did not Tech Rage.
If you see that's why you wanted to Tech Rage. I was trying to think of. I thought there was a reason why I wanted you to Tech Rage. So if you Tech Rage, then you Ironhead that guy, and then you Ironhead that guy, then you Ironhead the other guy too. Then you Ironhead all the guys. But I can't Ironhead that guy.
I just Tech Rage into Earthquake. As I Tailwind.
You can do that too.
Wait, no, I did have a good enough game plan! Oh no, I thought he was going to switch Komo into Whimsicott.
But that's fine, because if he does that, then you got Tailwind and he can't Encore you. I'm assuming +2 Tech Rage knocks out Whimsicott,
right? So I thought he was, +2 Tech Rage knocks out Whimsicott. The problem is I thought he was going to switch into Whimsicott and Shadow Ball the Excadrill.
But then you Tailwinded.
And then I...
Double Protect.
But then I can't knock out Kommo-o.
Oh, okay. I guess.
Because +2 Iron Head... Because +2 Iron Head against neutral defense Kommo-o does 84 to 100%, and so then I have to make a read on... And so then the only way I can knock out Kommo-o is by doubling it with Mence and Excadrill, and so then I have to make
a... Doesn't he not have enough grassy terrain turns to do that? If you Tech Rage him, and then...
Tech Rage... So...
No, he has enough.
So I thought he was switching his Kommo-o into Whimsicott.
Yeah.
Which, like, it was around here that I was starting to feel like my game plan was getting a bit shaky. So let's think this out. So if he switches Kommo-o into Whimsicott... Yeah, I'm going to need to finish this in, like, 10 minutes. So, but it's good. We're almost over. So he switches Kommo-o into Whimsicott. And Shadow Balls the Excadrill. I Iron Head the Whimsicott, Tailwind. So he has full health Gengar, full health Kommo-o against full health Salmence, full Excadrill that's at 20%. Last turn of Grassy Terrain.
Yeah, then you just protect and... Well, no, you can't. Yeah, you can. You just... No, Gengar has too much health.
I can double protect and hope he doesn't Z-move.
Yeah, but that's like... I don't know.
But he might just go for Z-move Shadow Ball.
Yeah.
Into protect, into Sludge Bomb, into like disable, or Sludge Bomb. So I think that's... And I thought the switching Kommo-o out to Whimsicott was a far more likely option than Kommo-o protecting and Whimsicott switching in for some reason. Because I thought he had to burn the Tech Rage. Because if I Tech Rage the Kommo-o here, I win, right?
Mm-hmm. Not quite a 50-50, but it was a read, I think.
I didn't have this read. Basically, the way this game works is that there were 4 reads I could have made in a row, and if I hit any of them, I won this game.
Good old hyper offense.
No. It's not hyper. It's just offense.
No. I think the opposing team. I think everybody is hyper offense.
Yes. If you ever hit a read against hyper offense, you win the game.
Yeah.
And so I Iron Head. Okay, and I Tailwind. So what do I do next turn?
This turn.
And the worst part is Sandstorm ends and he heals back up to full with Whimsicott.
Yeah. I don't think he can lose at that point.
So this turn, what I have to do is I have to hope... Oh, so his play is to Tailwind and switching Gengar, because his Kommo-o is faster than my Excadrill.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing you can do to stop that.
There's nothing I can do to stop that. So my best play is to... What's my best play? I don't know. I'm just going to watch the rest of this game. Yeah. I decide that my best play is to Hyper Voice and Earthquake to catch the Gengar and chip the Whimsicott.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if I protect Mence, Iron Head the Whimsicott? He just protect Tailwinds next turn, gets in Kommo-o and Z-moves. Yeah.
I'm not sure if your position changes.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I just like... Oh, and then I Tech Rage on the Tailwind because I have to hope... I have to hope that something happens, right? I have to hope I get lucky.
You could, No.
I could Iron Head... I could Iron Head the Whimsicott, and then...
That doesn't do any good.
Well, if I Iron Head the Whimsicott and Tailwind, he encored me on turn 6, so I'll get out of it on turn 8, I think.
He has enough. He has tailwinds. He has enough tailwinds. Himself.
Yes, but then I can get a double protect to win the game.
If you Iron Head, there's still one turn of tailwind on his turn, and then you need to stall out for 2 more. So I think you need a triple protect. Is that right?
Probably. You're probably correct. No. My tailwind ends at the end of turn 8. Tailwind ends as I finish encoring.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it would be sufficient.
So I could have actually gotten a double protect to win. So I didn't play to my out there.
Yeah.
30% chance is better than 0. Is better than I had actually a I could have. That was really bad. So basically, this game I choked and then I choked and then I choked and then I choked and then I choked, and then I didn't play to my out. Are you saying
choke is equivalent to not making the read?
When I had the read.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair.
It is not always a choke to not make the read. The choke was so I choked by having the wrong game plan. Well, no, I choked.
I think it was just the case that
I choked by having the wrong game plan. I thought
I
thought I had a good enough game plan, but I didn't. I thought my game plan where I had all the reads on precisely what he would do was good enough, but it wasn't.
And then we see Emilio take
the W.
Final turns of the game, and yep, Clang is his way to victory.
Man, that's depressing to watch. That is actually.
Imagine if it's an actual in game. You're facing a shiny Como and it's doing the little shaky things, and it's like shake, 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 and then it goes wah wah wah, and then it kills you.
I've never actually played a Como in game yet.
You're lucky because the animation takes about as long as Eevee.
I don't think I ever played an Eevee.
Well, you're lucky. I played Eevee, and man, you get sick of that animation quick.
Did I play against Eevee in 2017? I don't think I played against Eevee. Ever.
Well, rip you. You should have played against my... I should have played you with my Eevee. Should have...
I don't think I played against Eevee ever on DS. I've played against it online.
It's not the same.
It is not the same.
It's not.
It turns out we don't have enough time to analyze Chuppa's game, but I think we learned a lot by looking at this. I think we've investigated a ton of potential game plans. We see that, both players were playing reasonably well. Ezrael probably should have been able to win Game 3, and Emilio probably should have won Game 1 if he hadn't made a bad Turn 2 play. So I feel like this actually is still an auto loss, despite how I played it. Is that just me?
I feel like you have some tools in the matchup. In my opinion, I thought Emilio was on the back foot, where it was the case that if you make any aggressive plays and get them right, then you probably win the game. I think that was definitely the case. I think Emilio really had to bank on a bunch of your plays.
So I agree with you, with the caveat that I make the turn 1 play that I do successfully. That is a big caveat to that idea, right? Yes, Emilio's on the back foot because I make such an aggressive play turn 1. Whereas we saw in Game 2 with the Bulu switch-in that it was actually very advantageous for him to go for a bunch of different types of game plans. I think that it always looks like I am in the advantage because of the Sword Stance and Switching Clefairy game plan being successful. But if he makes the aggressive play on my very first... So, the thing about Sword Stance and Excadrill is that it's really strong. It's just really good.
It makes him a 1 swords boy. Wait, no. He has 2 swords when he does it. Wait, how many swords does he have when he does it?
We'll analyze that later.
Okay.
And so I am forced to make an extraordinarily aggressive play in order to have a chance at the game.
Mm-hmm.
But then I can make any aggressive play after that to win. I have to make 2 aggressive plays, one of which is telegraphed. But it wasn't telegraphed until I did it in this set and then streamed my analysis of it.
Yeah.
This was a bad idea. This was a mistake.
You done messed up.
I messed up.
I'm getting ready to counter team you right now.
I messed up, and now everyone who plays me with Komo will know precisely what I'm going to go for.
Yeah. But I think one thing that I really learned from this analysis is a little bit more understanding of how the Gengar, Whimsicott, Blue, Komo, like those types of general teams play. Because when I normally watch them, I just think it's really stupid hyper offense, really stupid hyper offense.
It looks really stupid. It looks stupid.
Yeah, and so this really helped me, I think, understand a little bit more about what their intention is. I still don't that's still not my type of play style.
Sure.
But it really helped me, I think, when we analyzed it and discussed, for example, why would Emilio make such and such play?
Yeah.
I don't really see how it immediately benefits him. Oh, okay, it benefits him because if these certain actions happen, then he gets this positioning later. And helping see that is always really helpful for understanding how hyper offense is supposed to work, because that is how hyper offense is supposed to work. You're supposed to set up a situation where you're able to consistently pressure your opponent and make little room for error, because you're just overwhelming your opponent, and by making certain plays, and you can do it from there. And so I liked watching this and understanding that a little bit better. I don't know how much practice Emilio has with this.
I don't think he had too much.
If it's representative of how it's typically played, but it was enjoyable and informative to watch.
Yeah, for me, what I think, I didn't gain too much necessarily by talking about it. It's my own set. I've already seen it. I already know what's going on in my set. Generally. But, basically, the idea I wanted to convey with this was 2 aggressive teams facing each other, which is not something you get to see very often. And it's especially not something you get to see in depth, and that you get to really analyze what's going on. It mostly just looks like they're just trading KOs. What's going on? But I tried to play Sajin's team in a very controlling offensive way, which is the way I like to use it, which is I exert so much pressure that I get Swords Dance up. Once I have a Swords Dance up,
smack, yep.
yeah, we're gonna hit things. But what I wanted to show is that offense is a large part about you plan the whole game. If you can play, because you know how your pressure is going to affect your opponent, you can plan where all the KOs happen. So in this game 3, I planned where all the KOs were going to happen up until turn 5, when I realized my plan wasn't actually following through, and I needed to make a read. But the general idea is you plan each bit, and so if I had made the correct read on turn 5, this game would have been not a massive failure. It would have been a massive success. It would have been really sick. You would have been like, oh man, Jonathan looked like he was doing a bad thing by iron heading into the Komo Protect and then protecting the Excadrill while the other slot gets doubled. But it would have been really sick. And the basic idea is, offense, when you're running offense, you plan your game. That's just it. You just plan what's going to happen when you make your plays. You think through everything. Not just, I think he's going to protect... I mimicked a coin flip. It was a joke, because Pheromosa plays.
Ja, ja, ja.
Ja, 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 ja. Yeah. Thanks for coming on with me, Leonard. I'm going to stop streaming. I think I've had enough. I need to go to bed.
All right. Well, good night, and thank you for having me on.
Night, guys.